Okay, hello my wonderful people. Today I'm gonna be doing vlogging for you in the English style. Today is a day of practice in writing and I have my notebook over here. I'm gonna show you. I have my notebook over here with my fountain pen and we are gonna do some writing today and I'm gonna practice my English at the same time while I'm walking and I'm gonna show you the nature. Look at the color over here. It's like lavender. Look at this freaking shirt. Like man, I just became conscious of the fact that it's getting freaking warm. It's getting freaking hot over here because, you know, now it's the 5th of June, I think, and like when it's not windy right now, like holy shit, it's getting warm. So beautiful. Now we're in the forest and you know the forest is the vlogger's friend because you know here it's not windy and all kinds of birdies are singing on the background and you know you don't get this everywhere. And here's the time right now, you know, it's 1 p.m. or how do they say it in the United States, and I have my sticker over here, TruthDetective sticker on my pocket watch, and this is a mechanical pocket watch, Swiss made. Yeah. So I kind of try to live in the past in that sense. I have fountain pens and pocket watches and you know these FEDORA hats and I see a bird. So yeah, that's the great thing about the place I live, you know, and the town I live in, you know, there's a lot of nature over here, but you can get kind of used to it and not really appreciate it. And yeah, you have to keep in mind that this is my first vlog in English and it's a challenge in itself to speak this language. Well, not really nowadays for me, but it's a challenge to do this at the same time as walking over here and inventing something to tell you. Look at these highlights over here. You get this, the sun is in the back of the trees, you know, like this, and you get this white highlight around. This is what you seek when you do nature photography. I think this is really cool. So I thought that I might be telling you something about myself in this vlog if this is the first vlog you are watching or the first video of mine that you are watching right now. You know, I'm a Finnish artist. I do all kinds of arts nowadays. I write, I do abstract art, mainly abstract photography nowadays, and regular photography. I do YouTube videos here on YouTube, and on top of that I have been starting to sing, writing songs, and I'm kind of thinking about cinematography, you know, making movies also. But who knows, I'm building up this character of Truth Detective, and you see this shirt over here. I really like this kind of abstract art style and this timeline of the 1960s, but now we're gonna continue on. So you see over here, we place the sun behind that tree like that, and we get a nice highlight and the colors change a lot in these leaves over here. And you see this beetle over here, that's pretty interesting. All kinds of detail and color in this thing also. And also on top of those things I mentioned in the the shot I took of myself are the fashion clothes I wear. That's one of my passions also. I would want to work in some kind of collaborative thing with fashion, the fashion industry, and I have been doing some abstract photography that I'm gonna show you over here from my clothes. You can see. Pictures are overexposed photos I have taken of my own clothes or these Paul Smith clothes, these designer clothes with a camera, and I was swinging the camera in my hands while I took them. So they're kind of interesting. I try to develop this kind of style and I'm gonna use a green screen in the future and I'm gonna have these clothes and I'm gonna have the art on the background and it's gonna look great. But you know, that's just one of my plans. Also one of the things I'm kind of practicing in my life is to really hone down my English speaking style. I really want to become a master in the English language and I want to speak English in a way that is kind of my own way of speaking the language, you know. That's kind of funny. funny, yeah. But you know, being funny is not really my, like, the most biggest or the most important goal in my life. Being funny is just a bonus, you know. Being funny is kind of like great, but you know, being funny is not my main goal in my life. I don't want to become a comedian, you know, but I want to get some funny in my videos also, and I want to become a little more funny. And I have been reading actually books about comedy and like stand-up comedy, but really it's not my main thing, and it will probably never be my main thing. And you know, that's actually a life lesson I heard from this man called Brendan Barchard, or some kind like self-help dude like that, and he said that you should keep the main thing the main thing. And in the Finlandia forest you can see my shadow over here. Good day, my people. You can see that it's really dry at some like points, you know, and this happens because of the sun, of course, but you get this like really dry forest and you get this more like lush colors, and it's really interesting. And you know, making videos in the nature is really fun when you don't have a tripod with you, because you have to kind of like look for the places where you could find a great light. So look at these colors. It's kind of interesting how the greens, they become kind of almost tropical when you have this light like this. And you know, one of my other passions in my life is self-help, and I want to become a self-help YouTuber on top of all of this. I want to become somebody that can really like motivate you and inspire you to become a little bit more creative, maybe a lot more creative, to become a little bit more like skillful in your ways, to overall become a better human being. And that's my goal in life in general. I want to become better in every way. I have to say to you that these plants I have right now, these are by Paul Smith, and you see this forest graphic over here. It's pretty amazing that these plants are really like not that warm, even in the like the warmest like climates, because they have the grays and they have like a little bit of black. You know, in Finland it's kind of like when you are out a lot in the forest, you shouldn't be wearing shorts, because there are all kinds of like small things that can bite you in those like in those grasses, you know. So you shouldn't be wearing shorts if you like go to the nature. If you are from somewhere like maybe New Zealand or like even Australia or even India, you know, if you think about the like animals and the threats that are in the like Finnish nature compared to your like living environment, you know, we don't have deadly spiders. We have one snake that can kind of be deadly for you, but even if you get bitten by that snake, you know, you can probably survive. And we have bears, and they are pretty dangerous, but you know, bears only exist when you go like really into the deep forests, not here, you know. And then we have, well, maybe wolves can be kind of dangerous, but not really even that. So like the Finnish nature is kind of safe. We don't have those kind of dangers that you have, you know, for example in the rainforest, you know, you have all kinds of deadly spiders, snakes, you know, freaking like gorillas. Yeah, we have ants, you know, these little things are just minding their own business over here. But you know, the Finnish society is in general pretty safe. We don't have a huge gun problem. We have a lot of drug like problems in Finland, but we don't have a huge gun problem over here. There's not a lot of like violent crime, and you know, it's pretty safe country. But still, you know, you can, even in this country, you can learn skills like related to like social conduct that can really help you to like make your life seem and feel even more like streamlined, I would say. And that's one of the downsides for a creative type of people or a creative type of human being living in Finland. Is kind of boring, because there's not a lot of happening over here. You kind of like have to make the show yourself, where a lot of creative people are, for example the New York or like in Hollywood. You know, it would be more easier for a guy like me to like break through, you know, it would be easier. So I have to completely use a different strategy in my country. So I've been developing a lot of skills, you know. For example, my English ability, it has come through only through like years and years of practice. And my artistic like endeavors, they have been going on for years right now, like 5 years. So it's kind of like starting to pay off in some sense. And I really have a dream of like going to the biggest art like towns or the biggest art cities in the world. And I really have a dream of like working with the fashion industry also through my art and my own vision of how life should be lived. But you know, I feel that the people that are at the top of this game right now, they really are, you know, they're kind of like super smart. And you see these shoes I'm walking with over here. These are Paul Smith Springfields. They have this bending like bottom designer shoes. And man, these clothes, they feel amazing in this like climate. But you know, now it's getting windy again, so I'm gonna continue on filming when I get back to the forest. You see these clouds over here, they look kind of bad. But you know, in general, this town is really great for a vlogger because there are so few people like really walking around. And I went to Helsinki actually like a few days ago and I was doing art over there. And I kind of realized that holy shit, the place is like hard for a vlogger. Like it's really hard to make vlogs out of like Helsinki. Of course there are some vloggers that don't really care about like unknown people on the backgrounds and don't care about like, you know, like music playing on the background. But you know, in like most of the cities there's so much going on. But yeah, you know, it's kind of amazing that we survived the winter time, because you know, in Finland the winter really lasts almost a half of a year. And you know, because of that, because of the seasons in Finland, I feel that the Finnish human being has to have a completely different strategy for life. And this should be like taken into consideration in like also in self-help. You see how much bend there is in these trees while it gets really windy. I'm gonna show you one of my moves I have been practicing for the fashion world. That's my low crouch or the Navy SEAL crouch. And you know something about walking. Walking is great. You can do all kinds of things while you walk. One of the reasons I'm walking over here in the forest, on top of that it's a windy day and I don't want to get the wind noise in the camera, is that the air is kind of like polluted even in this part of the world. This is not a big town, you know, but still if you walk the streets that have a lot of traffic in them, I mean, it's kind of bad for your lungs and it's kind of bad for your brain also, because there are bound to be some toxic fumes in the air and they get to your brain through your lungs. Get away, we're not gonna be caught today, we're speeding like a madman, the girl is scarfed in the back. And one of the things I also do while I walk is I write songs. So you can see over here on my moleskin my handwriting. Get away, the 1960s every day, we're traveling to the past, to the time of the gentleman. That's one of my like strategies for life also, that you should really stay creative all the time you live in this world. And you know, it's kind of funny, you know, the 1960s, it was the time of the abstract art and the abstract expressionists in the New York City. People over here in this town are starting to really know TruthDetective or totuusetsivä. They are starting to know the character. And I want to like embody the character in my own life. And you know, I've been doing marketing through these business cards of my YouTube channel. It reads TruthDetective over here in Finnish. And you can see that you can like use the card over here on this trilby, this Paul Smith trilby hat. And you can use the card over here as a decorative thing, and that's kind of a marketing trick I also invented. So next I'm going to the store to buy some food for the day, and for the day of writing. And if you didn't know, in Finland we pay with euros. It's made out of fiber or cloth named lyocell, and it's the most comfortable shirt I have ever worn. You know, it's so freaking light. It's a really interesting fabric, lyocell, because it's made out of trees, actually, the tree pulp, and it's like a new high-end, you know, this kind of fabric that some manufacturers use, like Paul Smith. This one is made in Italy, and like it feels so light, and it doesn't really let the wind through very much at all, and it's, you know, it's cutting edge. And the only problem with this shirt is that it's starting to stink, because it can't be washed in a normal washing machine. You have to chemically wash this, so that's a problem. But you know, the funny thing is that while you are using this on video, nobody will smell it, you know. YouTube still doesn't have the like ability to like transmit my smell to you, so I can use any freaking like thing I want. It just has to look freaking good. So it's a funny truth about being a Finlandian, you know, you have to think about your clothes in a completely different way than in most countries or in other countries, because you have the long winter, you have the seasons changing all the time. It's kind of hard to actually like find the right clothes. It's almost always like too warm or too cold. You see over here. And you know, this is one of my only like short sleeve shirts. Because of that reason, you know, get these mosquito bites, you know. Okay, so here's the TruthDetective clock at this point, and you know, this is a spring action clock. Actually, you have to rewind it, all this, like tighten it up every once in a while so it continues on going. And we have another beetle over here on the street. They're kind of slow in their ways. And you know, really they have a lot of wisdom in them, because you know, they take it slow, and that's how you should also do it in life. You shouldn't be hurrying around like those other guys in their like fast cars and in their, you know, that's kind of dangerous. You can get like into huge traffic accidents, and if you take it slow like me, you know, there won't be a problem. You will stay healthy for a long freaking time. Now this is the American street, because this street actually leads to Hollywood, and I become all freaking American when I walk this street, and it's pretty funny actually, you know. And actually this street, it leads to a freaking store, and I'm gonna get some food right now. I want to travel to Tokyo, to Milano, and even Hong Kong. Okay, so here's what I got from the store. This sparkling water and walnuts. These are brain food, you should eat these. Yeah, if you want some health advice, you should really quit like drinking sodas and all kinds of shit like that. You know, I have this habit of buying the most freaking expensive clothes and then like semi-starving myself. Okay, so I have been writing for about like 3 hours now, and you know, I have a lot of pages over here. So yeah, I wrote this many pages in that time, and you know, this story is pretty amazing. So this story is really about TruthDetective and how he like lives in New York City in the 1960s, and the story starts with a black Cadillac that rolls across the street, and TruthDetective sees Frosty Frank through the window of the car. And Frosty Frank is like a Vietnam veteran that has came back from the war, actually like a half year ago or something like that. And he has been getting in the mob. He has become a mobster. And then TruthDetective goes inside of this restaurant, and there's like a shooting of like this soldier over there. A couple of these guys shoot a soldier that comes inside the restaurant when TruthDetective is at the restroom, or the, how you say it, restroom of the restaurant. And at that point, you know, this becomes a crime mystery. So here's one of the dialogues I wrote. This is the first draft. He walks to the other side of the street to the detective. So who got shot? The Frankie asks. It was a man, maybe a 25-year-old soldier. He was wearing a uniform. A soldier. Frankie asks, yes, detective says, what kind of soldier? So the details of this story at this point are that Frankie drives a black Cadillac with these like American flags on the hood of the car, and he has become a mobster, but he talks to Truth Detective at this crime scene and like helps to identify who this like soldier is, that he belongs in the Army Corps or the like Navy Corps, what's that called, you know. And then it's the first kind of opening part of this story, and I think it's pretty good, because I really want to write the Truth Detective novel at this point. This one was fun, you know. Okay, here's one of the lines. The detective doesn't see the barmaid, but she can hear some clanging from the back, and that tells him there's someone there. Truth Detective sits on the stool and chimes the bell for the bar. And I use this Stabilo Bus pen to like highline over these parts that I think that could be left out. Doesn't see the barmaid, but she can hear, yeah, something like that. Oh, well, that's a problem. So yeah, these Moleskine notebooks are great. This one is dotted like this. This one doesn't have any lines on it. And there's this pocket in the back side of the notebook, and I keep these detached pages from books over here. So yeah, that's how I read my books nowadays. I just rip off the pages, and you know, I'm reading this book right now called The Path of Least Resistance, and you can check it out. I got it from actualize.org book list, and or found it from there and bought it. And I'm reading the book and making highlight marks with this one. And you know, this page talked about how like changing outer circumstances in your life might not help you. So yeah, I have about 40 minutes time left, so I think I'm going to finish this day with reading these pages I have like over here with me, and then I'll have to walk again. So yeah, that was the day of writing, and I think it was pretty great, you know. I got some really nice description in there, and you know, it was a real story, first chapter maybe on the book, and I haven't written in those notebooks like ever before, and I felt that it worked really good. So now we're gonna head back home. You can see the clouds over here. It wasn't really a rainy day today. There's my shadow again. Yeah, for reals, you know, I haven't ridden that good in like ages, you know. This part of the town has these cobblestones, you know. Walking these is pretty fun with these shoes. Part of the town has these like old buildings, you know, these like wooden, and these are from the, you know, like ages ago. You know, we get also these street lights that are like really old school. That's great. So yeah, maybe it wasn't your most optimal vlogging day today because of all the wind, but still, you know, I had a lot of fun. And you know, if you want to get good at anything, you have to use every opportunity you have to practice. It might be for the fact that I did this vlog in English, so it helped kind of my like writing process also. So we are back in the forest now, and you know, I'm freaking starving at this point. And like the evening sun is pretty amazing over here in Finland. So that's the day, and I'm going to be back at my home pretty soon, and I'm going to give you a final speech over here about being a creative person. And you saw I did many creative things today, and you know, writing that book is one of my like main goals at the moment. I really want to write the Truth Detective novel and make it like pretty great. And you know, one of the hard parts in like doing this in English was that I had to like get that description right in the writing, and that's really challenging because usually my Finnish writing has better description than in English, but today it all completely like reversed around. And I'm really glad that I made this video for you, and thanks for watching, and click the subscribe button and the like button and all the freaking buttons. Just click all the freaking buttons over here. Click this one and this one and this one, and click on the freaking back over here, and you see the light over here. You see that? That's pretty amazing. Yeah, thanks for watching. And as a final note, I want to tell something about my long-term dreams, and that's of course that I would want to move out of Finland. You know, I would want to like really use English as a main language. I would want to become a published writer in English, and you know, I would want to live somewhere, for example the United Kingdom, where I could use this language all the time. And I really want to become something great in my life, and I feel that it's a great starting ground, this town I mean, but I feel that Finland in general won't be the place I will get to the like top at. You know, this is such a small country, there are so few people, and even those people, you know, there are so few like really cultured people. It's hard to find talented people around here, and I really want to like do something that matters in my life. So that's one of my like ultimate goals. I want to be so freaking rich that I can just move out of here, you know, to somewhere better. Yeah. But yeah, it's a great country in many ways, but I feel that there's a lot better ones out there.